Ever since the news broke that Billy Flynn was leaving Days of Our Lives for The Young and the Restless, we've had a lot of fun speculating about whom he'd be playing, about with whom he'd be paired, about his potential impact on Genoa City, etc., and so forth. Now we know that the actor is Aristotle Dumas Kane Ashby. The character has his heart set on reuniting with former wife Lily Winters, and his goal is to basically own Genoa City. But we're still mystified, and not by the identity of Damien Kane's killer. We're betting we already know who done it. The more Kane explains, the less we understand about the version of him that has returned to the canvas 6 years after the role was vacated by Daniel Goddard, who now plays Professor Henry Dalton on General Hospital. Foremost among our questions are these. Where did Kane get all his money? Kane swore that, off-screen, he reconciled with estranged father Colin Atkinson, and they set about amassing a vast fortune in what we've been told are legitimate ways? But really? In 6 years, Kane managed to put together an empire to rival the great and powerful Victor Mons, and without resorting to the kind of underhanded dealings that were Colin's stock in trade. Color us skeptical. Also, if there was no shadiness to the manner in which Kane went from rags to riches, who would want to kill him, and why? If he's Mr. Nice Guy businessman about town, he doesn't exactly have a target on his back. Unless, that is, former associates of Colin's still have old scores to settle and are out to murder Kane as payback. But even if Colin owed them money, wouldn't his cronies want the cold, hard cash, not Kane's cold, dead body? How did Kane hide his true identity all these years? We live in the digital age. There's virtually no one whose picture is not on the internet, and wouldn't at least some of the bigwigs with whom Kane did business have insisted on an in-person meeting? Recognized him from his days as a bartender turned CEO in Genoa City and blabbed to Victor or Jack Abbott or somebody that Aristotle Dumas wasn't the mystery man that he pretended to be. Furthermore, Kane told ill-fated Damien Kane that, now that the mask had been dropped, he had to go back and pull down all of the walls that he'd built to hide his true identity. So, what? Did he legally change his name to Aristotle Dumas? Are we supposed to believe that his kids never noticed that suddenly their old man's credit card had a different guy's name on it? Where did Kane's accent go? Originally, Kane was Australian like Goddard and had an accent to match. Since the character's come back, there's been no mention of the fact that he seems altogether unlikely to start a conversation with JJ Mate anymore. On the plus side, we suppose that explains why Billy Abbott didn't recognize Kane's voice. How was Kane ever passed off as Chance's father? When Kane was introduced in 2007, he posed as Philip Chancellor III, aka Chance Chancellor's father. Here's why. Looking at Flynn next to Connor Floyd, who now plays Chance, we're not sure anybody in the hemisphere would believe that. Heck, they're so close in age. Connor Floyd is taking over Flynn's vacated Days of Our Lives role. Plus, whatever happened to the age difference that was once an issue for Kane and Lily? Why did Kane risk his whole scheme to visit Genoa City? Kane has told all of his guests that there is simply no way to contact the outside world. What we think is that they have no way to contact the outside world. Kane of course does, so we can't fathom why he snuck away to Genoa City for an in-person meeting with Holden Novak, when it would have been so much stealthier to simply call the guy. In a similar vein, are we right that Adam Newman climbed a mountain to reach the train cars, then climbed back down and went home? And no one thought, the hell with this, I'm going with him? Wouldn't at least Sharon and Nick have split, if only to check in on their loved ones and let them know what was going on? What was the point of moving everyone to France? Kane's goal is the ownership of Genoa City and all of its many corporations except Winters. Yet he's only made an offer to take over Chancellor. A rejected offer, not surprisingly. Supposedly, he's making his moves while he has all of Genoa City's power players trapped on the mountain. But what on earth could those moves be? It's not like he could buy Jabba or Newman or, frankly, anything without Victor and co. being informed. Kane isn't magic, is he? Also, sales like that wouldn't happen overnight, or over the course of a week. It would take weeks, months. So how long does Kane plan to keep everyone stuck in France? Does he think no one is running Genoa City's companies in the tycoon's absence? 'Cause we'd be willing to bet that, even if we've never met them, all those big bosses have medium and small bosses working underneath them. These are but a few of our ongoing questions about Kane and his storyline. Drop yours, and any answers you might have, in the comments below.